Top of the line quality that you expect. The hot spot of furniture's beautiful and elegant. Yeah, it's those kind of words. Whatever you need, whatever you dream. Exquisite black leather or soft plush cream. The best antique and oak, no joke. Metal and rattan, they got it going on. Bedrooms, bathrooms, living rooms, and kitchens.
Hello, this is Jin with another episode of the Tor Noob podcast dedicated to those of you who have yet to experience the MMO game Star Wars The Old Republic. Rather than leveling just one character to maximum level, I go make a bunch of lower level characters on every server, and I go around doing the same level quests ad nauseum. So I know something about how to play the beginning levels of this game rather efficiently. As always, I find topics that I think would be useful or helpful to the beginning player, and I devote a podcast episode to each topic. Episode 6, this one will deal with Galactic Strongholds. Also, as always, I produce a video version of this audio podcast at YouTube, and sometimes I will suggest that you view that, rather than just listening to me blather here. So what I'm describing can be demonstrated more clearly. This is one of those episodes where video can convey a lot more detail than my limited words. There's a lot to see in this episode, I'm going to warn you right now. This game gets patched on a nearly weekly basis during the early morning hours of Tuesday in the Pacific time zone. The developers are seeking to make each class as balanced as they can. They take into consideration all the skills that are used not only in PvE battles, but PvP as well. It's not uncommon for them to constantly tweak each class's abilities so that no one class has a permanent advantage over another class for survivability. Sometimes it can be hard to keep up with the changes that the devs roll out nearly weekly, but at least they take into consideration not only the thoughts of the development team, but also feedback from the players who are directly affected by a change, and either they like it a whole bunch or not at all. It's not uncommon for the devs to react accordingly. Anyway, a recent patch brought with it a surprising new aspect to the game. There were rumors of player housing back in April and May of 2014, and it existed for a time on a beta private test server, so that those who were interested could try things out, give initial feedback, point out things that were glaringly absent or broken, and needed fixing before this patch went live. Anyway, a lot of thought and detail went into patch 2.9, and it's rather like an entire expansion pack that everyone gets for free, just for playing the game. Those who are subscribers back in May have access to Strongholds right now, and the rest of the populace, the preferred players, followed by the free-to-play accounts, will enjoy the new player housing by the middle of October. Because I was a subscriber during the pivotal time I needed to be, I have access to Strongholds right now, and I've been figuring out how it all works. I thought it might be useful to give a primer for those who have yet to experience this new game mechanic, everything from how to get one to how to decorate one, and why having one is such a nice thing. When patch 2.9 went live, some of the vendors on Fleet got moved around a bit to accommodate the addition of the Stronghold vendors. In the crew skill area of Fleet, all crew skill trainers are now located in 2 of the outer alcoves, and the inner walls are now dedicated to vendors and consoles dedicated to the player housing. Also in the crew skills quadrant, you can see a new holo statue. Any player, level 15 and up, will see an optional mission indicator triangle floating above the holo statue's head. Click on the holo statue to see a short cinematic in which your character learns about strongholds. This holo statue also exists on both capital worlds of Coruscant and Dromankos for those players just reaching level 15. By clicking on the holo statue and enduring the sales pitch, you'll get some quest rewards that I'll mention later. Don't forget to grab the lore object next to the holo statue, a sign that provides a codex about strongholds. There are a total of 4 strongholds per account available to players right now, and the consensus among fans seems to be that more will be available on other planets in the future. The cheapest housing is going to be the apartments on Dromankos and Coruscant at 5,000 in-game credits, or 50 cartel coins each, to buy. The Nar Shaddaa stronghold has an unknown price at the time I record this, but it is expected that the Nar Shaddaa floating palace will be slightly cheaper than the Tatooine homestead, and that one on Tatooine will cost 2.5 million in-game credits, or 2,500 cartel coins. On top of the initial purchase per stronghold, there will be additional rooms that can be unlocked with more credits or cartel coins. The total price to unlock all the rooms on Coruscant or Dromankos will be 1.4 million in-game credits, or 3,550 cartel coins. The cost for all the rooms in the Nar Shaddaa Sky Palace is 6.5 million in-game credits, or 6,825 cartel coins. And finally, the entire Tatooine homestead can be yours for the grand total of 9.5 million in-game credits, or 10,000 1,100 cartel coins. One more thing, the Coruscant apartment can only be purchased by characters in the Republic, and the Dromund Kaas apartment can only be purchased by characters in the Empire. To transport a Republic character to the Dromund Kaas apartment, it will cost 1,000 in-game credits per trip. The same is true for an Imperial character visiting the Republic capital world. Nar Shaddaa and Tatooine are neutral, so the strongholds are available to one and all on your account to visit for free. There's a lot more information that I'm not going to get into here, but in the show notes for this podcast episode, you'll find a link to Dulfy's SWTOR fan site, which you can find at Dulfy, spelled D-U-L-F-Y, Dulfy.net, and find the category devoted to Galactic Strongholds. Of particular interest is the entry on tours and unlock prices, which I'll provide a direct link to in the show notes. You'll find videos of each apartment and a map layout for each as well. Dulfy also has the lowdown on decorations, furniture, and all sorts of other weird and useful things you can place in your stronghold, many of which require quests, achievements, or crafting to acquire. If one of these strongholds strikes your fancy, head to the crew skills area of Fleet, hit the hollow statue first, and then find the 3 stronghold directories, which are just computer consoles pushed up against the wall. If you're in the Republic, you will see one console each for Coruscant, Nar Shaddaa, and Tatooine. If you're in the Empire, you'll see one console each for Dromund Kaas, Nar Shaddaa, and Tatooine. After right-clicking on the console, to the left side of the management window, you will see some buttons, the top one being Purchase. Click that button to view your options. In the case of Nar Shaddaa and those subscribers who get this particular stronghold for free, you will not have to spend any cartel coins or in-game credits. Click the purchase link to acquire the stronghold of your choice. Remember, you must be level 15 or greater to complete this act. To visit your stronghold, hit U on your keyboard to bring up the Strongholds management window, and immediately you'll see the stronghold that is available to you. Under the menu item of Personal, click the green travel button to go there. There's no cooldown associated with traveling here. You'll be immediately transported. The first time you travel to your stronghold, you will see a short animation of your character surveying your new surroundings. Feel free to run around, check out your new housing. This area is a rest zone in the same way that a cantina might be, so you subscribers will get rested XP when you log off and back into this area. You may also hold conversations with your companions anywhere in your stronghold, if the option exists to have one. I've mentioned some extras you get if you talk to the hollow statue before arriving at your stronghold, so once you arrive at your stronghold, run in any direction for just a few steps to trigger the mission rewards. This area is your own instance, and the only direct route here is for all characters in your own legacy and those people that you choose to invite to your place. Open the Strongholds management window again, and in the personal area, where you would hit the travel button before, now hit the keys button on the right side. This will bring up a panel in which you can designate key holders. Bronze and silver keys can be given to anyone. Silver keys will allow the key holder not only to visit your stronghold, but also to kick out others who have the lesser bronze keys you have given them. The person that you want to give a key to must be online in your faction and must accept the key being given before they too can visit. The stronghold is particularly fun for those people who like to roleplay, have a large number of friends and want to visit and be silly, and for PvP parties. A lot of people weren't sure if the whole strongholds thing was going to be very compelling content for the seasoned player, but it turns out that the devs have retrofitted a lot of the lower level flashpoints and other missions to tie into this new content. Basically, by performing these missions, players can gather crafting supplies, furniture, and trophies that one can hook to the floor, wall, or ceiling to show off their conquests and activities. I mentioned furniture, so let's get into that. When you are in a stronghold that you own, you will see an obnoxiously large button that says Edit Mode. Go ahead and click on that, and you will see that the floors and walls begin glowing with different colored and sized boxes. The small square green boxes are considered small blocks. The blue rectangles are medium and narrow blocks, and the square blue boxes are medium blocks. The largest purple square boxes are considered large blocks. Right-click on any of the boxes on the floor to edit that specific spot. Mailboxes and all 3 cargo holds are available to be placed on the smallest green blocks, and I personally designate a corner to place all 4 items really close together, usually in the spot closest to where one is transported when one first arrives at the stronghold. It's very handy and convenient to place these things together. If you're viewing this on YouTube, then at this point you'll see me placing these 4 items together. 3 cargo holds? Yes, 3. First, there is your character's personal cargo hold, which only that one character can access. This is the same cargo hold that you can access on fleet, on the capital planet of your faction, and on your personal starship. The second cargo hold belongs to your guild. Not every guild has a cargo hold, and not every character belongs to a guild, but it does exist, and it's handy to share items across an entire guild. A guild cargo hold furniture item must be purchased via the GTN or through the cartel market. There's a specific pack in the cartel market entitled the Stronghold Utility Decoration Bundle, which costs 1,365 cartel coins, in which you can find a guild cargo hold along with a few other useful things, but the GTN is probably cheaper to find this. The third cargo hold is for your legacy. This legacy cargo hold is easily one of the top things most anticipated by players when it was first announced. For those of us who have to mail items, armor mods, and other stuff from one character to another continuously, we can now use the legacy hold to accomplish the same feat. A great many people use it for crafting supplies and materials, and you can unlock more storage with in-game credits or cartel coins for a total of 5 cargo bays, just like one's personal cargo hold. Your arms tech crafter can share and use the same scavenged metals and compounds that the cybertech and the armor mech had gathered if these materials are in the same legacy cargo hold. I use my legacy cargo hold much more often than any other just for the crafting convenience. But wait, there's more. I have mentioned that crafting is useful for this new world of strongholds, right? Well, in this episode's show notes, I'm also going to throw in a link to tordecorating.com, TOR-decorating, and specifically the guide to prefabs. What crafting skills are needed, what recipes to use, and what materials are used for each MK1, MK2, and MK3 prefab. With prefabs, you can use this as an alternative currency to spend on the furniture with which you want to decorate your stronghold. MK3 prefabs will be the most expensive and time-consuming to create, but it will give you some of the niftiest items in return, such as a GTN console, various vendors, and visually complex furniture. As always, these items can also be purchased off the GTN, but for those who don't have a lot of in-game credits and want some of the shinier things, crafting may be the way to go. You'll require a crafter who has pretty much maxed out their various crew skills to accomplish all the things. Thankfully, there's no level restrictions associated with maxing out a crafting skill, so theoretically you could have a level 10 character with maxed out 450-point crew skill. To get started with prefabs, head to Fleet, to the crew skills area, and take your crafter, so if your character has cybertech, artifice, biochem, arms tech, armor mech, or synthwaving, grab these new crafting schematics for the MK kits. You will see something called war supplies as well, which is part of another thing entirely. Grab them if you want, but they are expensive and I will not cover them in this particular podcast. If all of this is just too confusing to digest right now, don't worry about it. You're certainly welcome to ignore all of this. If you have a high-level friend around, ask if they can help you acquire a thing. There'll be a few different ways to get most everything in this game related to strongholds. The show notes for episode 6 of the Tor Noob podcast will also have a link to a page that lists every single piece of furniture available. If nothing else, you'll have a name with which to type into the GTN to see if there's any for sale. One particular item that even the beginning player may want to know about are resource material nodes. If you have a gathering skill such as scavenging, archaeology, bioanalysis, or slicing, you'll remember that often on your minimap you'll see a tiny star-shaped icon, and if you're close enough you'll see some sort of lump on the ground that you can right-click on and collect. Well, there are objects you can place in your stronghold that you can also collect materials from. Only the 4 gathered material types, so scavenging, archaeology, bioanalysis, and slicing, are available, but all grades of each of these are available. In fact, if you talk to the Hollow statue on Fleet or in the Capital Worlds before you purchase your stronghold, you'll get some mission rewards in the form of in-game mail. One of these pieces of mail contains all 4 node types, grade 1. The purpose of these nodes? Well, you can place them anywhere you like on the floor of your stronghold, and anyone can right-click on the node to gather material. You don't even need to have that crew skill trained. Just right-click and stand still for the 15 or so seconds it takes for the act to be completed. Nodes with grade 2 materials or greater are found as mission reward loot and also available on the GTN. The prices on these higher grade nodes tend to be out of my personal price range at about 100,000 credits per object. Your service prices may be more reasonable than the one I've tried, and I anticipate that average prices will go down over time as supply becomes more available. These nodes come from conquests, and along with war supplies, I will not be covering that in this podcast episode. Conquests, in large part, require a guild and some coordinated gameplay, so I have not tinkered with this part of patch 2.9 just yet. I know this podcast episode is a bit long, but I wanted to tell you one more thing that makes the stronghold really handy: getting your character from place to place nearly instantly. me. In this podcast's YouTube video, I'm now hovering my mouse over the exit area icon, which is located just above your minimap. If you've ever participated in a flashpoint, then you'll remember this icon. In a flashpoint, this is the way that you can exit the mission instance, and you have two choices of destination, whether you go back to the fleet or back to where you were before you first transported into the flashpoint instance. In a stronghold, you have 2 to 4 possible destinations, depending on if and when you were a subscriber when this perk was announced. You can go to the planet upon which the stronghold is located, in the case of this video, Nar Shaddaa, the spaceport or first quick travel point of the planet you were on before you traveled to the stronghold, and then optionally your personal starship or to fleet. Let's say that I have finished up my class story on a particular planet, and I'm ready to proceed to the next. I want to grab the next set of armorings and mods for my adaptive armor, I want to stock up on stims and medpacks, I want to drop off crafting materials I've collected, and I want to sell some stuff on the GTN. I will hit U on my keyboard, travel to my stronghold, empty my inventory into the appropriate cargo holds, mess with the GTN console, check mail if I have something incoming, perhaps log off to grab a bite to eat, log back in for the rested XP, and then exit the stronghold area onto my personal ship and get on with my character's level and story progression. All of my alts stand in this one area of my stronghold where I've placed the cargo holds, the mailbox, and the GTN console, and it's just one click away to transfer them to fleet. If, for example, I need to grab more crafting schematics, level up a crew skill, or do something else that requires me to leave the quiet of my stronghold. The stronghold has proven to be a very handy thing to me, just for the traveling convenience. Another part of the conquests part of this patch that I won't go into is that you can make your patch 2.9 conquest missions even more effective by increasing your prestige score. Hit U on your keyboard, and just above the travel button for your stronghold, you will see a prestige score. You gain more prestige the more furniture you acquire, and also the more furniture you place into your stronghold, be it on the walls, floor, or ceiling. I don't exactly know how prestige helps with conquests, but it is a thing, so I wanted to make sure to mention it. You can browse Dolphy.net or Google.com for more information about conquests. If I ever get around to messing with that part of the game, I'll be sure to devote a podcast episode to it. This was a long-winded podcast, but I hope there was something useful you were able to take away from it. Enjoy your Bobby Dream house, your stronghold, and don't be afraid to experiment with the furniture. Throw some posters on the wall, some lights on the ceiling, and some Twi'lek dancers on the ground. Be entirely serious or very silly. For instance, I have a bunch of male companions just only in their underpants standing around because I'm a weirdo. This is episode 6 of the Tor Noob podcast, recorded September 16th, 2014. Show notes and all that other stuff can be found at my website, tornoob.com. And remember, your crew can complete missions even if they're offline, so don't forget to queue up as many as you can before you log off. There's no reason your lazy companions can't be useful even when you're not there to keep them on task. Until next time, take care.